Hey y'all, this is Dale Thick Madame with the second episode of Cherish the Day. So, this episode started out literally a year after how things ended with the first episode. Because I was like, okay, her hair is a little different, but okay. It really wasn't that much different, but I'm just saying, I was like, okay. So, anyway, she was in a vehicle with like a best friend of hers, and they were going to this art gallery. So, they get there, and she's like, "Look, girl, let them know we about to come up in there, so we can, we can make sure we can get in. I'm gonna park the car." So she is parking the car, and we see old boy Evan there with one of his friends, and I'm like, "Oh gosh, here we go." So he sees her before she saw him. So he was like, "Oh man, that old girl." And he calls her Carson, and she calls him Stanford. So he was like, "Oh man, there go uh Gently." He was like, "Carson? Carson's here? You talking about the one who left you on the side of the road and all this other stuff?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, no." So he was like, "Yeah, she here." He was like, "All right, man, you want to go somewhere?" And, trying to get him out of there to go somewhere else because he wasn't here for what he heard, happened between them and all that stuff. She left him. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. So he was like, "Man, no. So they basically both tried to play off the fact that they saw each other. So then she come in with the friend, and then she see him. She was like, "Dang." She turned all the way around. She was like, "Man, Stanford's here." She was like, "Stanford? Who's Stanford?" And she was like, "We only know one person that went to Stanford." So then, of course, she was like, "Oh, okay." So she looked over at him. She was like, "Oh, he kind of fine," and all this other stuff. And, they trying to have a little girl moment. And they both are just trying to enjoy the art, which was beautiful, by the way. I don't know who the artist was, but that artwork, it was very nice. I'm very much so into art. I always wish that I could be into painting. I just can't do it. Especially now on that level. I could do some of the most basic stuff, but as far as all that other stuff, if it wasn't for Bob Ross, I wouldn't even think I could halfway do that stuff. Like, I could watch one of his old shows right now and think I can do it, but I can't. But anyway, so it got to a point where he circled the room, and then he rolled up on her and was like, apology accepted. And so she was like, "I accept your apology too." And they basically acted like they picked up where they left off with the pleasantries. And I was like, okay. So anyway, they caught up with one another, and he was like, "I can't believe, I'm running into you here." And she was like, "Yeah, just to think, I wasn't even trying to come out today." And, he was happy that she did. And he was like, "What's been going on with you?" And, he's still doing his usual. And she was like, an opportunity came about, and I was able to go to Tanzania. And, she said she enjoyed herself. She was there for 5 days, and, they just caught up. So then, he was like, "Well, maybe I'll, call you sometime." And then they, went on about their business. And so she called out to him and was like, "If you want to, me and my friends are going to be at this bowling alley a little bit later on. So if you want to pull up, you can pull up." Y'all, he politely pulled up. He got there right on time because his size shoe was the last one they had. And he just rolled up. So it was literally her best friend, and like a group of other people that was with them. And so he came, and so she was like, "Oh my gosh, you came. You actually showed up." So, everything seemed fine until the cut buddy rolled up from out of nowhere. I mean, like, he rolled all the way up. Evan had literally just went and got them some things from the concession stand and things like that. And he was tying his shoes up. Old boy, like, rolled all the way up. Like, you would think they were together rolled up. So he just was looking like, "Oh, okay." He kind of like was side-eyeing, but, he looking, I think he kind of feeling like, "Well, I got to keep in mind, this is not my woman. So ain't no reason for me to get mad. Ain't no reason for me to get bucked." So she introduced the two. And his name is Ty, or, that's what he goes by. She introduced the two of them, and, shortly after that, she was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. So she on her way to the bathroom. Old boy is, of course, where he, in her line of sight. And so he looking like, what's going on around here? What's up with you and old boy? And she was like, look, this ain't what you think it is. I don't know why you acting like we ain't doing nothing but hooking up. And, he really trying to make it seem like they is all these things, and they not. They don't go out on dates. They don't do nothing. She called him and be like, break me off. That's all it is. And that's all it's ever been. So she was like, I mean, if I want to, I will call you and let you know if I want some things. And so he was just trying to be like, well, after the party, just pull up. Let me know what you want to do. And like, he really feel like he got it in the bag. I was like, bruh, he fine. But I was like, sir, you're doing too much. So anyway, she eventually returns with some more food and all that good stuff. Y'all, tell me why. I feel like he was in the moment and trying to be a gentleman. He sees her with both of her hands full of food. So he's trying to approach her when two kids run full force into him from the side, and you might as well have said he got tackled. Like, he is towed down on the ground. His ankle is messed up. He heard a pop. So his ankle is probably broken at this point. So she ended up telling her best friend to call for help and all this other stuff. Yeah, that ain't work. So she ended up driving him to a hospital, I guess, whatever the closest hospital to them. And that was like county-esque or whatever, and wasn't nowhere to sit. She rolled up on, she thought she had like the last seat and she was gonna get it for him. So this nun rolled up and was sitting there. And so she kind of tried to negotiate with the nun and be like, you see, I'm glad that y'all made it out of your accident okay. You see, my friend, not so much. Will you allow him to have your seat? And so she was like, no, I'm here comforting, sister here. And so she was like, is there any kind of way that you could comfort her standing up? And she was just like, no. I was like, no. Like, he was towed down. Like, he was towed down to the point where he came up out the shoes and the socks. He only had one shoe on. He had his whole foot out. Like, a lot of men ain't here for all that. He had his whole foot out. Like, that ankle was probably finna swell if it already wasn't swelling. Like, that whole foot was out. So I was like, dang, he out here. The whole waiting room was full. Wasn't nowhere for him to sit. So eventually it cleared out a little bit. They were able to get like a side seat somewhere. And she went to the vending machine to get him some things and get herself some things too. And, they started up casually conversating again. And it seemed pretty cool. So she gets a text message from Ty, and he want to know if she's going to come through, and he kind of glanced over, and he already can see, even if he can't see the text message, he can see the look on her face and like, oh, must be old boy. So they have a moment where she kind of dismisses the text message, and she sees a couple across from them, like kind of going back and forth. And she kind of tries to start mimicking what's happening, and like they're Jamaican. And so she tried to make it seem like he over here doing the most with some Jamaican woman, and they both kind of start going back and forth with it and just making each other laugh. So eventually they were able to have him seen. So he was like, I really want to talk to you. I really appreciate everything you've done for me. Like, she was there for quite a long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? She could have been doing anything else. She could have just dropped him off and went on to that appointment and, whatever. So, no, he's really letting her know, like, I'm very interested in you. Like, that's his whole, the whole thing that was going on in that moment. Them people really rolling him to the back. He was like, let me get a minute with her. And he really trying to talk to her still. And I was like, okay, you done went off. So, y'all, he finally gets released. He now has a boot on his foot. And he's walking on crutches, right? Y'all, the lies. He couldn't handle them crutches for nothing. He started going, and it was kind of like one of those situations where some people are like, okay, let me try. And they just dive head first into a situation and then just more than likely end up crashing. He was about to crash. He just kept going faster and faster because he was really trying to keep up with it and hold his balance, but it wasn't working, right? So the nurse who was at the front desk before, who, in my opinion, she was very, when Gently was trying to talk to him, she was all nice and sweet to him. It was like, oh, okay. I see you can't handle those or whatever. Like, she really was trying to be all nice and sweet to him. I'm like, you wasn't all like that with Gently, but okay. I guess because he a little fine to you, now you want to treat him, like you got some sense. But anyway, she was like, you can't drive like that. And, do you have a ride? And so he was like, yeah, I got a ride. I got somebody I can call. So he ended up calling the old boy. Old boy was like, well, what's going on or whatever. And he already knew the gist because, he was at that place at the bowling alley. And it got to the point where he went outside and his car rolls up. So I was like, girl, what did you do? You went out here joyriding and then came back in his car. What happened? Or what? Y'all, valet get out the car or whoever, and he was just like, oh, no, man, I didn't call for my car to be brought to me. So she appears from somewhere. She had waited the whole time. I don't know what she did. I don't know if she was just trying to make him think that she left or what, but she was there the whole time. And she was like, I thought you might need a ride. And so he was like, yeah, I need a ride. So he had already told his friend, let me call you back. I don't know if I'm going to need you or not. At first he was like, I do need you. And he was like, hold on, I'm going to call you back. Trying to see what was going on because the car pulled up. Anyway, she took him home. And one of the first things she notices is that he had some anime on the wall. She was like, oh, so you're into anime. And he was like, yeah, are you? And she was like, no, I'm not really into it, but, I can respect it. So I was like, oh, okay, then set it off on the anime. So anyway, he has this extensive record collection. I was in awe of it just seeing it. I know this is a TV show, but I'm just saying it was amazing. So she was like, wow, you have to have like over 1,000 or something records in here. He was like, yeah, that's, those are like the most expensive thing I have in here. And so she was like, okay, you're a music head. So, what we gonna do? So he was like, you want to listen to something? So they ended up listening to music. The first song that he put on was by, a group called Wells Fargo. And it's supposed to have some kind of ties to Zimbabwe, which is a place that she brought up because she said that is a place that she's always wanted to visit. She never was able to visit. And one day she hopes to visit that place because they have this amazing waterfall. And, she kind of liked the connection that he brought to it by playing that for her. Then, like, the next song, I'd actually heard of these people before, but you wouldn't have been able to pay me to know what the name of the songs were. I just heard of the people. And, like, he was actually kind of giving background on who people were. I think her name was Susie and the Banshees. And that I've heard that song before, but I don't know the name of it. And then they played another song that was by somebody that was, like, punk rock or something, but he's like Native American or something. So it was like, wow, that's interesting. He was like, well, that's the only one I know, like, of that nationality. So that's a thing within itself. But like the last song that he played for her was Bill Withers' Ain't No Sunshine. And for some reason, that moment was very key because as that song played, they were both completely silent. They didn't move. It was just a powerful moment in itself. And I was just like, wow, what in the world? Now, I live for Bill Withers. Bill Withers tripped me out. I remember when I was young and I first started hearing songs of his. I was like, he done hyped me up. And his songs don't be but like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And it's like, how you do this? In like 2 minutes and that's it. And sing the songs like this. You set it off. Grandma's hands. Stuff like that. It's like, why would you do this? For just 2.5 minutes, sir? But yeah, it was amazing because at one point in time, she was just looking off. And they made a point to show him staring at her. He looked over at her. He was staring at her. He saw how she was looking. And like, she was just entranced. She was just entranced. That song does do something. I don't know if they were reminiscing on the fact that they weren't with one another or whatever and how they felt in their personal lives because they didn't have anybody consistent in their lives like that, relationship-wise. I don't know, but it seemed like a really amazing moment, and I was here for it. I was like, okay, the silence and the looking. And then she eventually looked at him, And I was like, okay, then y'all better do that. So anyway, y'all, they had a moment, and after the songs were over, they sat and they talked for a little while, and then she kind of started feeling standoffish again. And he was like, look, I'm just trying to understand. I don't want you to think that I'm pressuring you into anything. I really just want to understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? He's just the type of person. He's like, I really want to know what's going on. I'm the type of person too. I really want to know what's going on. I don't want you to just be like, I don't want to talk about it. And then you mad and then got in your feelings. I don't even know why you're upset. If you can't tell me, or you don't want to tell me what's wrong, then that makes me feel incompetent as a friend, as a lover, or whatever relation I am to you, because you're not communicating with me. And that's how he felt. So this go round, she actually decided to tell him that she has trust issues. And I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense. So girl, okay, just go on ahead. And say what that is. She was like, I have a problem with trusting people. I really do have trust issues. And things just haven't worked out for her. So that's why she just kind of is so standoffish. So he was like, as crazy as this day and night has been, thank you for this. This has been a very amazing experience and all this other stuff. Y'all, this man broke his ankle. This man broke his ankle, something terrible. And it's crazy because he actually planned on taking her on a real date after they were done bowling. It was going to be someplace where they were going to have pancakes and hot cocoa and all this other stuff. It's probably something that she would have liked, because she already expressed in the first episode that she's the type of person where she is not caught up in all that material stuff, like, at all. Her best friend had a one-on-one with him and was like, because he asked her, like, what, how is it? How is she? What am I supposed to expect when dealing with her? And she's very low maintenance. She is a free spirit. She is all about positivity, good vibes, and loves to travel, does not like drama, all that, I was just like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, but that first time when they met up and they were discussing all this stuff, when they were eating cheesecake, he was trying to understand, what's wrong with going to a place that has chairs and tables and all this other stuff. And she was like, nothing. I just wouldn't be here. So I was like, I get it, So anyway, y'all, back to this. So they had their moment. They started making out a little bit. And she went to the bathroom to freshen up. So he's on the phone because his friend has called him because he didn't let him know what was going on. He at the hospital looking for him. And he was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm at home. He was like, man, what you mean? So he was like, yeah, I'm at home. Gently waiting around for me. I didn't know she was going to wait around for me, and she brought me home. I'm really sorry about that. So his friend is going off like, you need to leave her alone. She ain't worth it. She ain't the one. He was like, look, man, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about all that. I beg to differ. Like, he really is sending it off talking about she ain't the one, and you need to just let her go and all this. So he done hung up the phone and everything. So he's having a moment. She's in the bathroom, like, having those butterfly type moments and just reminiscing on everything that has happened. Then she sees something in the mirror that made her turn around. And it was a bra, a very, very expensive bra. So she done went off, and she done went down to where he is reminiscing as well on the moments that they've just shared. And she done went off. She was like, why would you do this? Why are you acting like this? Why are you trying to make it seem like you're single when you're not? And he had to tell her, I don't have a girlfriend. I really don't have a girlfriend. And so she was like, look, I'm out of here. I ain't got time for this. And keep in mind, this man's ankle is toe down still. He's trying to literally hobble after her. He done he really was serious about that thing. He done threw the crutches on the floor and everything. Then he grabbed her real quick because she was finna be gone. You know, all of her limbs and things are fully functional, and he toe down at this point. He's toe down. Like, he was like, look, if I had to grab the back of your neck, he had to grab her by the arms real quick and let her know, like, I am done with this person. Because she went, look, y'all, she went all the way off. She brought that bra in there, went all around the house. You saw only things that a woman would want, like some kind of magazine, some kind of book or something. Then I don't know what in the world. She saw a random blonde strand of hair and was done. She just went all the way off. She was like, really? A blonde strand of hair? I'm done. Like, it's like when she saw that blonde strand of hair, she was done. She was all the way through when she saw that blonde strand of hair. And like I said, he, had to grab her, let her know what it was. He was like, I can be done with that. She's just somebody that comes over from time to time. We're not serious. I had a life before you. You had a life before me. Don't act like I didn't see old boy all up on you when we was at that place. You know what I'm saying? So I can tell y'all had something. I'm not trying to hold nothing against you because you had a history and I have a history. So he was like, I can be done with that. All these things are just things that I can throw away. So he done went all the way off, and only response she could give was, why do I like you so much? And then they kissed. Then they fast forward and showed them in his bedroom, and she done took her top off and got the bra on, and he over here trying to take his clothes off. And I mean, we're supposed to guess and assume that they started having sex, and then it went off. But anyway, I've been enjoying this so far. I'm here for it, so we're gonna see where it goes from here. I hope y'all enjoyed this review. I've been enjoying watching it. I enjoyed doing this review. I hope I wasn't too all over the place. But anyway, y'all let me know down in the comment section if you liked it, if you plan to watch it, if you haven't. Thank y'all so much for subscribing to my channel. I really do appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all later on. Bye.